This is a 2025 Acura MDX Type S Advance. The updated for this year, 4th generation flagship crossover SUV from Honda's premium brand. The MDX gets a freshened up front end, updated technology inside, and the Type S now comes standard with luxuries that were optional before. Hence the name change to Type S Advance and the significantly higher base price. Indeed, the Type S Advance doubles as the most luxurious and performance-oriented MDX you can get. Of course, that makes it the top of now 6 trims available. You have the base, technology, A-Spec, Advanced, and now A-Spec Advance. That's new for 2025. The question is, do these changes maintain the MDX Type S's relevance as an enthusiast choice in the premium crossover SUV market? Let's find out. I review all kinds of cars and I have fun every time. Please subscribe and join me. The base price for a base 2025 Acura MDX with front wheel drive is $52,550. Going all the way up to the top trim, MDX Type S Advance raises that price significantly to $76,600. Just a few years ago, the Acura MDX Type S started in the mid-60s. And my test car does include an optional paint and cost $77,200. All right, with that, now is a good time for me to pull over and show you around and inside and under the hood of this updated Acura MDX. Looking at the front of the car, you'll be excused if you think that at first glance this is basically the same. It does have not that much of a change. It's an evolution, not a revolutionary change here, but there is a different, slightly more open pattern in the front grille for the Type S here, and it's this nice gloss black for the grille. And the lower grille is actually a new design and way more open than before. Lots of big openings for the intercoolers off to the side and up front here, and just has a generally more purposeful, sporty shape. I do like this gloss black that comes out right to the edges here, and I do think this is a nicely incorporated fog light here on the other side. And I do like the headlamps here. We do have LED headlamps and this running light right here, which Acura calls chicane. What's under the hood, though, has not changed. Let me show you. Well, there you have it. Your turbocharged 3-liter V6, 355 horsepower, 354 pound-feet of torque. It is transversely mounted or side to side like that. This is inherently a front engine, front wheel drive setup. So we do have a transaxle right next to the engine here underneath the turbocharger. The center line for the front axle starts here, comes right about here. In fact, right about where this ground bolt is right here, which is an interesting little thing to have, and then swoops in. So you're talking right around here. Most of the V6 is ahead of the front axle, but because this is all-wheel drive and because this is a fairly elaborate all-wheel drive system, weight distribution actually isn't that bad. 57% of the weight is over the front axle, 43% in the back. For a transversely mounted V6, you usually expect something closer to 60%. And finally, windshield wiper fluid is way off to the passenger side, but really easy to get to right here. Looking at the MDX Type S in profile, this is a good chance to see the new for 2025 and optional urban gray pearl paint. This is a $600 optional color to get on the MDX Type S. There is a second new color for the MDX for 2025. It is called Canyon River Blue Metallic, but that is not offered on the MDX specifically. The dimensions are unchanged, and I will put them up on the screen right now for you to check out and let you know that I have a lot more information in the description. The MDX Type S carries on with a 21-inch wheel, but it is a new design 21-inch wheel for 2025, and It's a nice and open 5-spoke design. Gives you real nice, easy view of the 4-piston Brembo front brake calipers right there, and the larger than standard front brake rotors for the Type S MDX. I think it's a really nice looking wheel, an improvement from before. And yes, this is still a crossover SUV. The wheels and tires in back are the same size as what's in front. Looking at the MDX Type S from the rear, similar to what we saw in profile, it is effectively the same shape. Overall, the MDX styling and shape is consistent from front to rear, and yeah, I think it's a good looking SUV. And it offers a good amount of cargo space. On the technology and higher trims, we do have a hands-free lift gate, and once it's open, it reveals 16 cubic feet of storage behind the third row. Not a lot, but more than nothing. The floor itself is fairly deep, but because of the steeply raked windshield, it does tuck in and get tight as you go up pretty fast. You do have a bit of additional storage under the floor, and that does go down a good 6 inches, so that's a healthy amount more space. And if you press this button right here, see how it lights green right there? As you walk away, it will close automatically as well. And if you need more than 16 cubic feet of storage and don't need all 3 rows, that is easy to do. Pull those 2 levers, the headrests automatically fold down, and you get 39 cubic feet of storage and room for 5. If it's only you and a passenger and you need even more storage space, still pretty easy to do. You actually need to pull 3 levers, well, 2 levers and a strap. And once you do, you have 71 cubic feet of storage and room for you and that passenger. And I would say plenty of room for my bike, but let's find out. Oh yeah, slides right in, no problem. And I don't even need to lift up. Just press that button. Let's take a look inside. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is start the MDX, because this is an MDX Type S Advanced now, which means there is stuff to show you in the back with the engine running. So first of all, here is our 3 passenger spaces in the second row, but if I press this button right here, it pushes out of the way to give you access to the third row. It is a 2-tone interior, orchard on the seats right there, and the rest is called black silver with authentic open pore wood, but not in the third row. But as you can see, the seats are quite low to the floor, and there's not a lot of legroom either. This is clearly for kids, but we'll find out anyway. Yeah, this is clearly for kids. One more thing to point out, the headliner and other trim pieces are in what Acura calls ultra suede, and the upholstery for the seats, these orchid seats, are a Milano leather. By the way, this is the lever I pulled to fold the second row flat, and this is the strap I pulled for the middle part. But if I pull this strap right now, it creates an armrest with a couple of cup holders and this nice tray right here. I am 5 feet 11 inches or 181 centimeters tall, and it's still not great actually for space, but much better than the third row. I do have a couple inches of knee room, but the seat bottoms are a little bit lower than ideal for adults. Put that together, I have still more than a 90-degree bend in my knees. I do also have my own climate control zone. I have heated seats for both the outbound passengers in the second row. That's nice. Maybe you saw it in the second row as well, but we do have a Bang & Olufsen sound system, and in the Acura MDX Type S, this is a 31 speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system. We do also have the usual controls on the door right here, 3-position driver's seat memory, another place to open the liftgate right here, and a lovely little metallic kick plate right there. We do have several controls for the seats, including lots of lumbar support, and now 9-way seat massage for the front seats as well. We do also have several controls to the left of the steering wheel. We can also adjust both tilt and telescope of the steering electrically right here. I will turn the fan down a little bit. The steering wheel itself is a nice thick rim with a flat bottom and a Type S logo right there. We do have nice place to grip your hands and several controls on the left and on the right. This is largely cruise control and media options right here, but you also notice that we have a heated steering wheel right there. That is always a lovely addition for folks that live in Michigan in January. We do also have paddle shifters for the 10-speed automatic transmission, upshift on the right, downshift on the left. Of course, since we have heated seats in the back, we have heated and ventilated seats in front. You can also just automatically turn them on so they go with the climate control system. We do have the first 2 zones of our 3-zone system right here. This button right here is the massage, and why not? What sounds good to you guys? I think rejuvenation works for me. This lovely Milano upholstery is courtesy of it being a Type S Advance as well, by the way. Just as we did in 2022, we still have a fully digital 12.3-inch instrument cluster right there and another 12.3-inch center display right here. But this is a new user interface. The touchpad is gone. That absolute positioning touchpad is no longer here. We just have the volume button and a couple of buttons right here. This is more of your traditional, typical touchscreen you have right here. This does also have wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, and now Google built in, which includes Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play. Beneath that, this is our drive mode switch right here. We do have several drive modes, which I'll get to in just a sec. We do also have another USB Type-C and Type-A port right there. Auto stop start right there. We do still have the push button prindle just above this small tray and a couple of nice big cup holders, and now a new position for a wireless smartphone charger right there. Beneath that, we do have a reasonably deep lower center console storage bin right there with a couple of more USB Type-C ports. You access the main storage with this lever right here, but if you push a button in the center, you get this little tray right here with like a coin holder and another little bin right there. Looking up, we do have a sunglasses holder and some controls for the panoramic moonroof, including an electrically operated privacy panel. It is indeed lovely. All right, let's talk drive modes. You adjust them with this dial right here. There are several. You get normal, comfort, snow, and lift. If you select lift, the vehicle starts raising itself. You can see it in the dial right there. So now the vehicle has just reached its highest setting because you're in the lift driving mode. But you can go the other way. Snow, comfort, normal, sport, and we're lowering back down. But also with driving modes, you can also go individual. You press this button here, and this gives you the options here. You go to customize, and you can see all the different ways that you can adjust things in the car for the individual setting. So this is a 3-row SUV, but this is a highly performance-oriented, highly adjustable 3-row crossover SUV. And yeah, there's a lot of things to like here. To see how all this stuff is executed and how well it works, it's time to get back on the road and see. So let's get back to the drive. All right, let's dig into the powertrain, talk a little bit more about that turbocharged 3-liter V6 under the hood. As I said, it does make 355 horsepower, and it does so at 5,500 RPM. It makes 354 pound-feet of torque, and it does so between 1,400 and 5,000 RPM, a nice and wide 3,600 RPM range. It is a single turbocharger that does the work. However, it is a twin scroll turbocharger, And the compression ratio is relatively high, but pretty much normal in the modern era, 9.8 to 1. It does use direct fuel injection, and it does also ask for premium fuel. The Type S is unique in having this turbocharged 3-liter. Every single other MDX gets a naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6 that makes 290 horsepower and 267 pound-feet of torque. By the way, this turbocharged 3-liter is also the exact same engine that's in the Acura TLX Type S. All MDXs across the board get a 10-speed automatic transmission, and it is a very good, fast shifting 10-speed automatic that has four overdrive gears. Yeah, the base MDX and the MDX with the technology package do come standard with front wheel drive. The A-Spec and beyond comes standard with all-wheel drive, and even the base and technology package MDX can be optioned with all-wheel drive. And the base MDX is a perfectly fine motor, but this turbocharged 3-liter is pretty darn sweet. I'm in the normal driving mode in drive, and if I floor the accelerator, it takes a moment to kick down, but then you get good, robust pull and a pretty darn good sound from the V6 as well. Now, if I leave everything alone, but put it in S instead of D for faster shifts, and floor the accelerator again, yes, the kickdown is faster, and the shifts are faster, and it is pretty darn responsive, and that's still in the normal drive mode. Now, if I put it in sport, leave the transmission in S, floor it again, yeah, sharp, good feel. What you do get is a slightly different sound. This does have active noise adjustment. Not the biggest fan of that, but at the end of the day, the sound is pretty good, so I can get behind that. And that was only sport. I can still hold down the shift lever and get myself in Sport Plus and floor it again. Oh man, so you get a much deeper sound, but a lot of that is the stereo, and you just get good, strong pull. This is a solid, robust V6. I really like its response. It is a very responsive engine considering that it's a turbo, and this 10-speed transmission is fantastic. It is definitely amongst the leaders in terms of downshift speed. It downshifts more quickly than a lot of transmissions do, especially when you give it the added advantages of the Sport Plus driving mode and S instead of D for the transmission. There is one more level. I do have the paddle shifters, so I can just kick down the gears on my own. Third gear, floor the accelerator. Yeah, I get nice fast shifts. It does upshift on its own, but it is good, robust pull. This is a quick crossover SUV. It does weigh close to 5,000 pounds. I'll go ahead and put the weight up on the screen right now for you to see, but man, it belies its weight. It feels responsive and fast and sporty. Not as good for fuel economy as you could probably guess. You get 17 miles to the gallon in the city, 21 miles to the gallon on the highway, 19 combined. And I have to say, I'm kind of conflicted with those numbers because clearly, in this modern era, they're not very good. And especially with a 10-speed transmission with such a long, wide ratio range, with such a long, tall top gear, I thought we'd do a little bit better on the highway at least. But on the other hand, it does show you the through and through sporty nature of the MDX Type S. You really can feel it in every type of driving. This thing is meant to be engaging and quick-witted and fun. And that's not the most efficient way for a car to be. But it is definitely more fun. Now, this is a 3-row family crossover SUV at the end of the day, and that may very well mean that you want to tow. And yes, this can tow. All versions of the MDX can tow 3,500 pounds if it's front wheel drive, or 5,000 pounds if it's the all-wheel drive system. by the way, I should mention that this is the super handling all-wheel drive system. That is a torque vectoring system, and that means it's probably pretty darn good at accelerating, isn't it? Well, spoiler alert, it definitely is. Of course I had to test it. Let me show you that right now. All right, everybody, time for an acceleration test. See what this Acura MDX Type S can do. I do have it in the Sport Plus driving mode, and I have the transmission set to S instead of D for the quickest possible shifts. Let's see how it goes. All right, coming to a complete stop. Bit of brake torque, a little over 2,000 RPM off the brake. Oh, nice. Oh, early 1-2 shift, early 2-3 shift, but fast. There we go. We get the full revs there, and wow, good fast shifts. Oh, this is a great transmission, and wow, lots of power from this turbocharged 3-liter V6, and just good, consistent pull. Fantastic acceleration from the updated 2025 Acura MDX Type S Advance. Okay, let's dig into the chassis. First of all, this has a double wishbone front suspension, which is really nice. Those really control the wheels nice and precisely, makes for a better handling vehicle. We do have a multi-link rear suspension. It is also, of course, 4-wheel independent. This MDX specifically has that air suspension that offers adjustable ride height and load leveling and adjustable dynamics when you're in the different drive modes, and really does give this MDX different character when you're in the different drive modes. If you put this car in the Sport Plus drive mode, it properly stiffens up. You can feel it right away. It is stiff over every little bump and heave on the road, and it maintains a very flat body when you're turning the wheel and going through some corners. The steering itself also weights up and feels very fast, very responsive. Yet, when you're in the normal drive mode, it is a nice balance. It is certainly not soft. It is a stiffer than average SUV, to be sure, but it is plenty compliant over the usual bumps and lumps in the road, no problem at all, and still maintains a relatively flat body when you're going through the corners. The Brembo front brakes also have good pedal feel with good stopping force and nice linear buildup of stopping force. If you just apply the throttle, there's not much compliance, and you get pretty strong stopping power pretty darn fast. Definitely appreciate that. From more of the ride comfort and cabin quietness point of view, Acura did make some changes. For the technology package and higher, they now have more insulation in the doors and rear door laminated glass to help reduce some of the cabin noise. It used to only be the higher trims, so that doesn't change things for this Type S, but for more of the MDX trims. And all of what I said is true on roads like this and on the interstate. I did test it there as well. Let me show you that. All right, time for a quick stint on the interstate, and I do have the on-ramp to myself, but it is a little wet. Oh, but still, such a good handler. This is a great handling crossover SUV. Even in the wet, in the cold, it still gripped the road pretty darn well. That super handling all-wheel drive suspension definitely helped out there. Yeah, good stuff. But now we are on the interstate. We are in the normal driving mode, and I do have the transmission in D instead of S. We do have a system called Acura Watch 360 that is unique to the Acura MDX Type S Advance, and it has additional features, one called Active Lane Change Assist, which I'm not exactly sure what that means, but we'll see if it feels any different. And we are going through a subtle curve right now, so I'll take my hands off the wheel. And yeah, there it goes. Yeah, it helps us stay in the lane pretty darn well. We do also have a 3-lane assistance screen on the instrument cluster to show us what the car sees on the road. Let me briefly show you that. We do have traffic all around us. I am in the middle lane, so you can see traffic on either side. I do have it currently set to 80 miles an hour to go with traffic largely, and yeah, pretty interesting. I am going to try a lane change without having my hands on the wheel, see what happens. Nothing. Nothing happens. Okay, Robin Warner from the future here. I have figured out exactly how active lane change works, so I'm going to show you now. First of all, you have to have all the systems on. Then you do a light press of the lane change indicator, not a full press, and you hold it down. Then you'll get those 3 arrows, and the car will show you that it's doing the lane change, and it does it all on its own, including turning off the turn signal. However, you have to keep your hand on the wheel. If you take your hand off the wheel, it shuts it off. If you do a full turn signal press, it shuts it off. If you just tap it, it never turns on in the first place. Let me show you one more time. Holding it halfway, getting the arrows, I have my hands on the wheel, and it's doing the lane change for me. Yeah, pretty slick new technology, and that is courtesy of a bunch of new sensors and updated equipment in the car that at the moment is exclusive to the Acura MDX Type S Advance. More fundamentally, I am pleasantly surprised with the amount of cabin isolation we get. It is pretty darn quiet cabin in here. I do hear a little bit of buffeting off in the background around like the side view mirrors and that kind of thing, but it is pretty quiet and it's a low frequency, so no big deal. And road noise is pretty quiet as well. And the seats are very comfortable. The fuel economy is a little bit tougher to swallow, but overall, this is a perfectly reasonable highway cruising SUV. So, what do I think of this updated 4th generation Acura MDX Type S Advance? Well, I suppose it makes logical sense that if a lot of people wanted the Advance package with the MDX Type S to just make it standard and simplify things, I certainly don't mind the fact that I've been getting a seat massage the entire time I've been doing this drive portion of the review. I've been getting a shiatsu massage. It has been lovely. I also do think that Acura improved its center display. Having it be a touchscreen and utilizing Google built-in just up-leveled the system a little bit, and I think a worthy improvement. The styling, I think it looks good. I thought it looked good before. I still think it looks good now. The most important part about the MDX Type S is that it is an engaging, enjoyable driver. And crucially, that is still true now. If you need a 3-row SUV, but you want something that's fun to drive and only have room for one vehicle in your life, this MDX really delivers a fantastic driving experience and all the utility that people need in an SUV otherwise. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you very much for watching.